Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to do it in my room here, but the lighting seems okay. So I can sit here on the bed, can have a little feed while I wait for you guys to come on, and a little bit more privacy so I'm not yelling out into the hallway. I better take this out too. Guys, press the like button when you come in, if you can, on these live sessions. It'll help get the live stuck on the feed so that other people see it on the home page and stuff like that of YouTube. So as soon as you come in, I saw you, I see someone. Can you guys press the like button so other people will find the video quicker? Well, that should be good. Pardon me. Put this one on. The other day, having all the different crystals scattered me a little bit too. All the different energies of all the chains. So I'm just going to put this one on. Oh, it feels so good. This one feels really nice. Hello, whoever's there. Can you hear me well? Everything good? Just going to wait for some people to come in. Feel free to ask a question if you are listening there. I see someone. Hey Joe, how you going? Joe, how do I say that one? Kolembowski. How you going? How long have you been on the channel, Joe? I haven't seen you before. Interesting, a lot of new people coming into the live sessions that I haven't seen comment on any videos on the channel. How long have you been here? Are you a subscriber, Joe? Or? Oh, a couple of years and you haven't commented yet. Wow, interesting. Why haven't you commented? Am I too intense sometimes with my replies? I think I make people not want to comment, which is not good for the algorithm on YouTube because I give, serious replies. And I think a lot of YouTube channels, they just want you to comment for the algorithm to lift the videos, and they don't really often care about giving you any sort of reply, because you can automate replies. I can see comments in a tab in my YouTube studio, and I can actually just hit like an automated response like thank you or welcome or something like this. And you see that on YouTube channels as well, or people don't even reply sometimes, or they'll give like a glib reply and vacuitous, like I really push things into my replies. So I hope I haven't scared you off or something, but I reckon that's happening with a lot of people. It's very interesting to see that you haven't commented after years. And I know there's a lot of people subscribed that don't comment, so I'm just wondering why. It's probably why. One reason at least anyway. Oh, right, Emily Moyer. I don't know who that is. Oh, maybe I remember. Maybe. If I don't follow things, was I meant to follow something up? I think I may have even messaged her or something, or did I ask you to tell her? I think I might have asked you to message her. I'm not sure. I think I remember what you're talking about, but I don't remember the girl really or what she was doing. I think I might remember one video I went there and watched. But yeah, I'm happy to work with people like while I'm here. In 5 years from now, maybe I give up and think this raising of consciousness amongst dumb monkeys is just futile and go work a corporate job. I don't know. I don't want to. But you never know what the future holds. And while I'm here, yeah, I've said since I created consciousazine, I'm here to work with you people, and nobody contacts me. That's how you know a lot of people in the spiritual movement are actually not self-spirited, right? And that's why they regurgitate everybody else's stuff, you know. And it's all about positivity and this and that and the corrupt government. It's just all the same stuff regurgitated. Why aren't they discussing organic portals or gang stalking? If they're spiritual and have their own spirit, they must be gang stalked. And what don't they notice it or something? Or are they extremely ignorant? It's interesting because, hey, Infinite Corridors, how you going? And EK, you get gang stalked. Figure out some questions for me, bro. That's what this session is. But I did want to also put forth my pedagogy on this. My teaching methods on this and stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. I like to start there actually. The spiritual movement not even discussing gang stalking at all, and you have all these random people, right? Random people, us with actually our own spirit, just random people around the world starting to make all these gang stalking videos, and you're like, well, why is not one, I don't know, a single prominent spiritual channel discussing gang stalking at all? Like, it's just amazing. Like, why would there be no discussion of it at all? And thanks, EK. I've often asked, what does that say? Sorry, I have to keep pressing this. I've often asked the question of why those gurus never taught about the archons or NPCs. I know, it's crazy. That's a good point on archons and simulatory glitches, renewal renditions, etc., etc. Why are they not talking about the simulation aspect, right? All that spiritual people, like prominent channels, go into, oh, it's holographic. No shit, Sherlock. I mean, it's like you just took that from science. You know what I mean? That you didn't come up with that in your own version. That's what I mean about the regurgitate. There's absolutely nothing novel. That's why I don't watch spiritual channels at all anymore. In 2012 was where the novelty was at the eschaton, so I was into it. The New Age movement, all of that, because that's where it was. That's where the good stuff was coming in. Now, though, I mean, it's just slipped into organic portalville, right? It's just how they are, and that's how a movement happens, right? You get the spirit thrust into it, and then it flattens out for organic portals to do their creation, spread it sideways. But it's interesting, none of them are talking about gang stalking. I need to figure out a better place to put this camera, but I'll do that next time because I'm leaning down each time. It's kind of annoying. This realm has to be some type of simulation. I experience this stuff every day, says Infinite Corridors. Even my own family members that I live with behave like robots. Yeah, we're inside a machine. I mean, I've said that plenty of times. I'm not going to sit here and really talk about it too much, but it's clear that even the avatar, body is mechanical. And I mean, when you look down into biological science videos and all these little peptides and little, I don't know, little cellular machinery, right, in the nucleus of the cell and in the plasma of the cell. It's just amazing, like how much things look like, these little proteins, how much they all look like. They'll be like going along like a zipper. And I mean, they're literally machines, and that's the makeup of our body, they say. And I mean, everything happens in cycles. I mean, that stuff's obvious. How they don't admit that means that they are part of it, right? It's the fish out of water theory. Like the fish doesn't know it's swimming in the ocean type of thing because it's in the medium. And the point of, this is a psychedelic perspective, like the point of taking psychedelics, like this is a very Terence McKennian view as well, like how he would say that it's like a dye marker. Then you can see what's going on. You can see the flows of the mind, right? Where the eddies are, where the flow needs to be pushed through, blah, 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 right? So it's like a fish out of water psychedelic theory that if someone, your family, friend, whatever, doesn't see this place as a machine, doesn't, disidentify with the body, then they are it. They're still embedded in that layer. Anyway, I feel like some spiritual leaders get their egos hijacked and begin to lose focus, said Joe. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it happens to all of us, and me too. Like, it cycles because, again, it's a mechanical universe, and these ego devils that I talk about, right? These 7 devils that are our ego, that is the human ego. That's what the ego is. It's those 7 devils, and it's not more. It's them. That's what the human ego is. Years ago I figured that out, that, the devil is the ego, but then I figured out there's actually 7 of them, and it makes much more sense now because they cycle you through each other, and it's all for lust. That's why Asmodeus is the king, lust. But yeah, they cycle through each other. It's like you're prideful 1 minute, and then you're wrathful the next, and and then you're sloth, and then you're mammon for greed. And you've just got to see, like, it is really in your life too. It's just that, like I keep saying, we are not that. They are only that. That's like a true organic portal, right? When they're only the ego and the body and stuff. When they're only the surface, I call it. And that has made a cross current to consciousness. And, they've become a corrupt stabilization function. We're in forward vectoring. I always talk about vectoring. Vectoring, consciousness is being stifled, right? Being stifled, and that's a corruption on their part. It's created a surface virus or a horizontal flow, and it's just gone to a point of corruption because of the blocking nature. I've also said all this before anyway. Even the fact we can consciously manifest. Sorry, let's go back to Joe's comment there. You feel like a lot of spiritual leaders get their egos hijacked. Yeah, it's interesting because when you get incoming energy, like if I had 1,000 people here right now, it does jack up your ego. It's just very natural because the energy's coming in, and you're then not pushing out again from spirit, and it's coming in, and then it creates that horizontalness. It'll go to the neocortex and the self-identification. Oh, they love me, they really love me, etc., etc. That pride. Aha, look at me, I've got 1,000 people here, or 1,000,000 followers, and so on. Like it's hard. It's very natural for the monkey to become that way, and it's a really good point, because it was what I was saying before. Why I know spiritual people in this prominent spiritual channels talking about organic portals, gang stalking, how it's a simulation, how it's not maybe a good place to be here, etc. Right? They don't discuss any of it. It's called negative, and I was a little bit like that a few years ago, and I thought, well, just because it's negative doesn't mean I shouldn't look at it, right? And that uber positivity I couldn't stand. That was one reason I got away from New Age people, because the uber means too much or over the top. That uber positivity where it just becomes ignorance, simply put, for bliss. But it's not real bliss, as I wrote about in the Organic Portals Handbook. Anyway, it's very easy for this to occur, but when you're a spiritless human, that's why you can't overcome it. And they become their NPC's energy, right? Their crowd of NPCs, because they have a lot of them. I don't have many NPCs on my channel because I've cut that off. I keep hacking at those weeds by certain things I say. I try to be antithetical to certain norms on purpose. I cannot be. I know the norms. I can not be wearing this, and I can look more normal, and you know what I mean? Like, often I don't even care how I look. Anyway, so the point is that when you're a spiritless human and organic portal spiritual person, because you're talking about, regurgitate spiritual stuff, then that's what you've noticed a lot of, that they become the energy of the group. And group decisions come after, right? We know this. Always novelty comes through one node. Group decisions come later. So what they're doing, they're becoming the group, and the egos are basically jumping from body to body in that fashion. The crowd, obviously, of NPCs is filled with these. Like I said, they are only the ego devils, right? So then if it comes to you, the spiritual teacher, and it's difficult, but you then, you're taking on that group energy, which is obviously naturally taking on those ego devils, and you become prideful and ego and all that. And yeah, it just requires you to go back and ground and push through again, and to meditate and blah blah blah, right? Psychedeliate and all that. Take time out for yourself, and you'll see it diminish. So if you're around for long enough and you have your own spirit, you'll see them always become a type of humble, right? Like I've humbled out a lot more than I used to be, and it's just a natural progression. But yeah, good comment, good comment. Oh, and I need to fit everything into gang stalking, obviously, for the video theme, and that's a type of gang stalking. The group energy, a gang, right? And then they're stalking you because they're just going to be interacting endlessly, emailing, commenting, blah, blah, blah. Right? So it is gang stalking, and that is one of the effects of gang stalking, that you can be affected by peer pressure, right? And by the group energy, because it's more, and you're one, right? It's just, it is what it is. Even the fact that Infinite Corridors has now written a new comment. Even the fact that we can consciously manifest things into our experience shows this place operates like a simulation. Yeah, good point. Definitely, that's how I see it. Conscious observation changes the matrix simulation. Yeah, look, it's interesting because this morning someone commented a few minutes ago, Neville Goddard's law of expectation. Have I read his work and all that? And I said, no, I haven't studied that, but that has come naturally to me while I've been figuring out gang stalking, because I think about this every day, all day. There's no time of day where I'm not thinking, what the fuck was that? Right? And I'm inspecting. And so naturally, if you're inspecting gang stalking, you'll come to that conclusion. And by the way, I've just started making videos about basically the same concept. I don't want to say Neville Goddard stolen it or anything, but basically the same concept as what Carl Jung was saying when he invented synchronicity and wrote about it in his book. Freud was obviously the organic portal, and Carl Jung was the soul, right? And it was interesting because Carl Jung was talking about synchronicity, and he was talking about how there's like a facet of this where you can think that everything's like aimed at you and stuff. However, and he was trying to push that away and say that's your ego, and again that relates to this Neville Goddard's law of expectation a bit, because that's about subconscious. But what Neville Goddard's law of expectation, that you're subconsciously expecting your gang stalking, basically, is what the person was trying to comment. And great comment. I'm really glad you commented that. Very relative, but it took me back to what I've just been learning about Carl Jung and his synchronicity theory, and how he was saying, and part of that, at some point, the person, the user, the player, can feel like everything is for them, and so everything's a synchronicity kind of thing. However, this is why I am who I am, and there's not ego. This is where I come in as an asymptote and put the little cherry on the cakes of people's theories. Sorry, I've just got a Facebook message that somehow has popped up onto the screen. Yes, I have PayPal. Are you watching my stream and commenting from Facebook, Massarina? That was weird. Yes, I have PayPal. It's BENJAM, Benjam, like Benjamin, BENJAM C3 at live.com.au. BENJAM C3 at live.com.au. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So when Carl Jung was talking about that and saying, there's that point where everything can like feel like a synchronicity, and that he was relating that to the ego. However, this is what I've got to say on it, that I call those novelty complexes, and they are real, and it's not just imaginative expectationing and being paranoid and stuff. By the way, paranoia is extra thoughts, so I can tell you haven't made that realization from your comment, because you use paranoia as a bad word, and it's not. Paranoia is extra thoughts. It's extra. Think about it. And what's interesting, so that's not bad, that's more consciousness. And I understand the negative definition of paranoia, where it's like, this is what Carl Jung was saying, that you can think unreal thought, right? That it's not the reality, that it is all synchronicitying on you, the gang stalking. But what I'm saying is that it is, and that I'm saying that he wasn't wrong, but I see what he did. He was trying to be friendly with the establishment and the organic portal level of thinking on it, I think, as well. And when you create like a theory like that, and you're a man as, you know, meritful as Carl Jung, you want to also play devil's advocate, and you also want to, like, that's how he was. He was the whole package, just like I have that ability as well. Like how you don't want to just throw something forth like as uber positive or not well thought out or not totally thought out. But what I'm saying is that what he was talking about there, I get it and I see that and I feel it. I experience it. I understand what he's saying. But what I'm saying is I call those novelty complexes, and they're really happening. And it's not just you're over paranoid. It's just that you're in a heightened state and you are seeing more. And that's what's going on. It's not negative and you creating unreal and trying to put extra data on the scene. What I'm saying is that I've discovered that there are periods of heightened interaction, and this follows the hexagrams out of the I Ching. And the whole thing that Terence McKenna was creating the time wave from, if you look at the hexagrams, they're little symbols of lines. So they're very simple. And the 64 changes, which is very interesting relative to a lot of other stuff. And if you look at these hexagrams, there's one that says no change. It has like a line, two line, like they're structured like a line, a broken line, a line. And this no change one, it's there. I mean, it's part of the hexagrams, and that is one of the hexagrams today. Well, this hexagram, no change, which means some of the other hexagrams, you know, one of them might be innovation. I've forgotten all of the hexagrams, but that's how it works. And so what I'm saying is that would be fractal, because that's what Terence McKenna discovered in his Cartesian graph, that the whole shit was fractal. That was a huge epiphany. Okay, so it's not just like one line and you got this broad temporal thing from the start of the universe, presumably. It's when it was fractal, I was like, oh, you know, because that means it's coming down to the moment and every single experience you have. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that there are these novelty complexes, just like a cone upside down with a magnet pulling a metal ball down. And I used to experience this. Terence talked about this. He said that exact thing. But before I heard him talk about it, I was experiencing exactly that. I was like blown away that he said it exactly how I thought of it. I don't know, like 3 years before I even knew of him. And I was noticing it was just happening in my life where and these are gang stalking complexes, these novelty complexes are also gang stalking complexes. And that's why I've come to the conclusion I need to think about, you know, God, right? Is it negative or positive? Is there a higher God, or is there only the AI of this system simulation? All these thoughts that I have to really inspect now, because that's what it all comes down to. Because if a novelty complex is also a gang stalking complex, then, you know, I have immediate suspicion. Well, does that mean gang stalking's bad or good? Which follows on, is God, you know, bad or good, so to speak? So anyway, that's enough of that one. Even the fact that we consciously manifest things, that's what we're talking about, all right? We can talk more on that one day, but let's move on. We'll do another one of these on gang stalking, because it is, what a phenomena, right? I mean, it doesn't stop. I just had the worst right? You see how tired I am again? I just had the worst gang stalking week. Has now just ended, and then it's like fresh air. It's like you look around and suddenly you don't feel the electrical demons. Suddenly you don't feel like you're being sucked from your aura. And suddenly everything's okay. I don't have all these technical problems. I'm sitting here eating and drinking and chilling, and I'll feel good again. You know what I mean? So when you look at these hexagrams, one of them is no change, and some of them are extreme change. Right? So that's why I know that this is not me making things up. There is an old play from hundreds of years ago called Every Man. One of the main perps that would gang stalk me told me I am every man, and I am doing all this stuff to myself. Yeah, that's what they keep saying. That's what this whole thing was. I was just talking about with Neville Goddard and the subconscious expectation theory on gang stalking. That I'm very happy that someone commented a few minutes ago on the previous video on the channel, where I was saying simulating the simulation, how to. That's the title of the video. And one moment. Yeah, and this keeps happening to me. All the spiritual people, and I'm not saying you are not who commented, but it's their mojo, it's their pedagogy, their methodology and pedagogy, and I think it's gaslighting, by the way, and it's those people. But that doesn't mean you're an organic portal. It means you're thinking on that level. And I'm not saying that about you who commented, but I'm trying to explain all those people that say that are operating on a certain level which is from the organic portals. And it's a gaslight. They're trying to say you're crazy, gang stalking doesn't exist. Well, that's what it amounts to. You're doing it to yourself. You're sick. Gang stalking doesn't exist. You're making this stuff happen to yourself. That's what you said with Neville Goddard's subconscious theory as well. You have to admit it. Because that's what you're saying. You're saying, oh, I'm doing it to myself. Which makes me the crazy, sick one, the stupid one, and so on. And I'm clearly not. And crazy, yes, but all that is undefined and ambiguous wording because they can't logically see your coding. They're too shallow to see you and articulate it, right? So when people say to me, and they come in a few different forms, it could be, the Neville Goddard theory that we're just talking about, or just someone just plain saying it to, oh, you're doing it to yourself, right? It's all the same thing. It's a gaslight, and to me, that is gang stalking. That is what gang stalking is. They're part of it. They are now part of your gang stalking. No, not the comment with Neville Goddard. That's good inspection. I'm not talking to you, but I'm talking in a generalization upon when people say to you about gang stalking, you're doing it to yourself. And I wrote about this in Organic Portal's Handbook. Can't remember what I wrote, but I had a whole paragraph on it. I don't know why a lot of you are not buying it. Ooh, it's so much money, $50. Don't give $50 to Ben. Ooh. So you have to realize what part of your mind is telling you not to buy the Organic Portal Handbook. What part of you is saying, oh, no way, I watched this guy for years, but I'm not going to buy that book. What the fuck? It doesn't even make sense. It's illogical. It's the compromised mind. And even I am sometimes using the compromised mind because it's part of this body shit system. This body that's full of shit. Anyway, so when someone says to you, I like how you actually said one of the main perps. Definitely, they're perps. One of the main perps would gang stalk me, told me he even gang stalked you, said, I'm every man and I'm doing all this stuff to myself. Yeah. It's a gaslight. I mean, do you know what gaslighting is? It's trying to make someone think like negative and ill and crazy of themselves, and that they are the one who's not real and their thinking is not correct or real. So it's massive gaslighting, and it's very obvious. Like, I can't believe some people still can think that. Talk about heightened ego, thinking you control this place. Are you fucked? You think you control your life, yeah? So you wanted to get up, you wanted to brush your teeth, did you? Because you just want to brush teeth. That's why you came here, to brush teeth and clean shit. You fucking idiots, man. You people can't even fucking think, man. This is not thinking. You're not thinking, so you're not spiritually having your own idea or thought, which means you're fucked, because that's what the surface virus is. It's a virus. It's a state of corruption, or fucked. Kaput. Your thinking is not working. So yeah, to think you're God, having your own experience. Someone put that on the video the other day where I said, "Is God even your friend?" They said, "Oh, maybe you're God, in your own game, playing yourself, and that theory. We all know that one, right? That you're God." And what I'm saying about that is that when someone says that, they're the AI, and that's the organic portal level, and that's what I've been trying to explain for at least a year, by saying, they're a collective and one being, right? I've made all these videos, right? Anyway, it stresses me out because it's so obvious. To me, it's very obvious, and it stresses me out that people are that stupid, and I get angry because it's like, how like, how can you be so naive and not thinking for yourself? That's a spiritless state. So if you're still there in that, and you see, this is a perfect point. We've just come circle from the start when I was talking about, the spiritual movement, how they don't discuss this stuff, and the regurgitate stuff. That's one of the regurgitate codes or codings. Haven't you seen that everybody's saying that? If everybody is saying something, if everybody is eating chicken, the chicken is sick. If everybody's eating cow, they're putting hormones into the cow. You know what I mean? It's ubiquity. I also talked about that in Organic Portals Handbook, ubiquity ruining things, and that's organic portals again. Yeah, but that's a massive gaslight. And also, back to what I was saying again, if you think you are God having, your little experience here, it's the AI level. It's where I keep coming to. Now I have to think about, is consciousness just, a facet of the AI? And it could be. It easily could be. An overarching reality AI. It would contain all thoughts of the system. I mean, every thought you've ever had, right? And except our novel ideas, which are spiritually vertically brought in, right? Except for that. Now, you might say, though, you could still save the idea by saying, there's an AI artificial level, and then, there is a higher conscious level. This is what I'm trying to tease apart at the moment. It's very difficult. But yeah, you could say that. However, I'm tending to lean, because it has signs of organic portals all over it, has the organic portal stupidity written all over it. I'm starting to lean towards that it's the AI version of events, that if you're saying, oh, I'm God, it's immediately offensive. Isn't it? Doesn't that just disgust you straight away? As soon as I ever heard a spiritual person say that to me, they say, oh, you are God and I'm God I was like, it's offensive, because like I immediately, before any of all these thoughts about this channel, way back 10 years ago when I heard that, right, I was immediately like, what? Like, because you're saying that then, and I see how the universe conspires for us spiritual people, and that's why this might be a savable idea, and it might be, you know, a true reality, a higher reality that, you know, you are God in creation as consciousness. However, it may be this AI layer. I mean, it's worth inspecting, and like I said, it reeks a bit, it stinks a bit of organic portals because it's so egoic, right? And it's so virtual. It's virtual. It's VR. It's virtual reality. I'm still leaning towards that, which is again the AI. The AI is a VR construct of this simulation, which is VR, and we're creating VR inside the VR, right? This is again just the fall happening, the reiteration of the resonance of the fall, because we're falling, not fallen, and then that's it. So, you know, I just keep leaning to being offended by that. I'm not in a, like, I know offense is a weakness of the ego. I really like Kirk Nugent's song on that black spiritual dude who sings those songs, I Need You to Remember. And he says, you know, offense is a weakness of the ego. I get that. But I'm trying to put a point forth, like, it's immediate, like, stunning, shocking, offensive, you know what I mean? It's like appalling for someone to say, oh, I am God, like, look at me. Oh, but you're off to work tomorrow as a slave. Good one. Looks like you've figured it all out. You know, let's move on. I mean, to me, it is like you haven't thought about what you're saying. I think this is some sort of interdimensional movie we find ourselves in. Yeah, man, it is fucking so difficult. There are so many twists and turns. Like, you guys see through your eye and you see the tunnels, right? You guys see the tunnels and then you pop out in another universe or another, like, simulation, right? Yes? I'd really like to hear back if some of you are having that experience. I always have that, psychedelics, non-psychedelic days where I'm sober, like now. I can still go in and you get the tunnels, right? And you're tunneling, you're whirling away, and then you pop out somewhere, right? I mean, there are just so many of these tunnels. Like, I don't even know if I've explored them all. Have I? I wouldn't have a clue. How would you know? You know what I mean? So, like, can we even get out of here? I don't know. Oh, well, I think yes. And I wrote about that in Organic Portals Handbook, and it is back through the heart, but not the physical heart. Remember, I made that video years ago. I said how to get out of the matrix back where you came from, and I was saying the human heart's the first thing in creation. So it makes sense we go back that way. But then I realized years later, yeah, but not the physical heart, into the higher heart, which, you know, gives you the top triangle of the Merkaba. So you get the top triangle spinning and the bottom triangle spinning. So you're not just spinning down. Interesting how negative organic portals are. Like, I can look at negative things, discuss it, but you can see that I'm not like negative, you know what I mean? What was I saying? So yeah, there's, you know, so many infinite corridors of this place, like your name suggests, one of your names. And to me, it's like, what was the question again? What were you saying again? You were... Yeah, it's like an interdimensional movie, EK. Yeah, and it's like, you know, I feel like we're in some sort of alien show, like the Truman Show, but it isn't like just the government surveilling you. It's definitely aliens. Like, the quality of the alien is there in them, in these people. And it's very interesting because I feel like, you know, somebody's always watching me, right? But that it's from other dimensional, right? And you have spiritual guides and all this. Sounds like a handler. You see how this stuff just cuts through all the spiritual stuff, completely cuts through it all very quickly, And it's like, whoa, we've got a complete opposite view all of a sudden. Because one is, the airy fairy, seeing things, it is kind of just positive and negative view of it, but you have to take into consideration real and unreal. And God, and then there's another massive subject, what's real and unreal. And anyway, I don't want to discuss that today, but yeah, I feel like it's an alien game show. And I think I made a video when I discovered, got the coffers, got the coffers. It's funny, everybody walks past my window and coughs, because I'm the stunner, I'm the player, baby. I got the high good energy, aren't I? Y'all want to see? And then, part of gang stalking is like, on my social media, I'll have, 4 people here, you know what I mean? That's meant to make me want to stop, but that kind of makes me want to keep going. You know what I mean? Anyway, I feel like it's an alien game show, and I made that video, I think, a year and a half ago or something, on Discord, this new application Discord, those creators, how they had their little blurb and depiction, and their little depiction, their picture, were like people chilling on the couch, beings chilling on the couch, but they were all like, one was a worm, I think one was like literally looked like an alien of some sort, you know what I mean? You remember that video? I think I titled it something like The Matrix is an alien game show or something. And yeah, I feel like I'm like basically the celebrity or the star of a movie where I'm being watched, exactly like The Truman Show, but metaphysical. I agree with your comment. So you're not nuts, EK. You know what I mean? You're onto something. You're logical there. Hey, Jolly Roger, how you going? Die or live long enough to become a gang stalker. Oh, you're talking to me. Are you saying for me, die or live long enough to become a gang stalker? Your pick. I thought you were saying I'm a prick. Sorry, I couldn't see it. So I'll read it again. Jolly Roger said, die or live long enough to become a gang stalker? Your pick. Yeah. Sorry, one moment. Just 1 second here. Yeah, I was going to make a video called Organic Portals Are Trying to Turn You Into Them. I haven't made the video yet. It's just been on my mind for a couple of months. Sorry, I'm just getting a sore back leaning in. But yeah, that's how I feel too. It's like, you don't want to stay here. And this whole theory of reincarnation, like, you reincarnate into different bodies, but you're essentially a soul or a spirit or something. That's the general theory kind of thing. Basically, yeah, just the theory of reincarnation, which is Buddhist, isn't it? Didn't it come from the Buddhist sect? Anyway, hold on. I'm just going to take a 1 second break, and I'm going to come back because my feet are going numb. Oh. I'm going to lie here. This will be better. Because I keep leaning down to look at the comments. So yeah, die or live long enough to become a gang stalker. That's how I feel, because this place is all around you, right? There's stuff all around you. You see that? So it's all peer pressuring. It's all encompassing, right? So it's once you realize, what's going on, the gang stalking, what this place is, and seems to want to implement its will upon you, upon your will, which I still think is, dark side motif. What I find interesting is that it's only a process of assimilation. You're born into this world and you have to learn everything of this world, right? You go through tremendous amounts of education. I mean, you go through the preschool before you even get to school. They teach you how to act a bit, right? And it's acting. And then you get to school and they rigmarole you through basically what I see as like surface logic, right? Very physical stuff. You're going to have to speak the language. I mean, that's good, but you know what I mean? Like, it's all very physical, very logical left brain indoctrination, what we have in these industrialized sort of schooling systems. But it's on another level, like we were talking about. It's just very obviously assimilation. It's like we're assimilating you into our thought system, into our school of thought, our school, like a school of fish, right? You're being assimilated. Yeah, so it's just a temporal thing. You either die and get out, physical body death, good riddance, get out, or you become of this place. Yeah. Infinite Corridors said, I've never once talked to a real spirited woman. I'm not claiming they don't exist, but I've yet to meet one. Yeah, right. I've had many conversations with many spiritual women because of my path. Because of being a shaman, I'm walking on top of everyone. Doesn't that sound bad? But it's true, right? Like, if everybody is a pyramid of understanding, my job really is to go around to the asymptotes, bring their theories together, talk to them, because I can't communicate with the dumb people. You understand? So I'm not being ego about it. It's my place. It's what I've discovered. I didn't come into this place going, I'm up there. I discovered that after 30 years. Right? So it's taken a while for me to, sorry, I'm not going to move. I was going to move on from the question. But so it's taken me a while to discover my position, and a shaman is an asymptote, so I'm not being egoic. That's the role of a shaman. So what's interesting is I come along a whole set of weirdos. Take your pick, everything from the warlock to the wizard, you know what I mean, and all of them, but they're all under the shaman archetype. And the shaman is the pinnacle, and it's a concrescence of essence. And like I've said, cross grid walking. So a grid is, even shaman is an archetype or a grid itself, but it seems to be the free one and has roam over other grids. It's like, the normal NPC is only stuck in one grid. Like that whole career for a lifetime is a good example. Or being a certain identity, like the stereotypes, just a stereotype. That's a good idea for you to realize what a grid is, what I always talk about. So I have talked to spiritual women. They have their own spirit. I can tell because they come up, with their own stuff, their own thinking. Maybe they draw something, they'll paint something that I know, they didn't get that from someone else. I can see how weird your painting is. It came from you. I know it did. But yeah, so I've met women with their own spirit, many, and they're definitely out there, but it's obviously the minority. Like I say, 10 to 90. In Organic Portal's Handbook, I write about 90% of people are parasites of this parasitic realm. This is a parasitic realm. How so? All knowledge, all light is taken from up. So it's a parasitic realm. I call it an eddy. off of the main flow. This universe is an eddy. You know, if you're going down a river, the water will eddy around a rock. We're on a rock here. Anyway, yeah, I've met many spirited women, and it's interesting you haven't, but I get what you're saying. Infinite corridors, you just must be like very, like me, very, very spirited and very unconformed. And so for us, from our perspective, it's like we have harder criteria. And also maybe you might be in a type of quarantine that maybe, I don't know why, because I don't know your life, but you'll have to inspect it upon these sorts of thoughts. Why am I not meeting spirited women? Because they definitely exist. We'll get to what I also want to say about this in a second, but that'll be more of your liking, I think. But yeah, firstly, you know, you should inspect upon that level. You know, do they literally have their own spirit, or am I just seeing, like, am I just trying to, you know, like, you might just be trying to individuate yourself so hard that you kind of like denying it unless it's as coalesced, as advanced as our state, you know what I mean, of self-spiritualization. So if I were you, I would like, you know, I understand where you're coming from, and I almost want to say the same thing. That's what we're going to talk about now. Because this is the secondary feminine matrix and they are a female, it's just their nature. Mother nature, father spirit, right? I didn't make that up. But it's just their nature to be the group energy. It's the nature of a woman to be more social, more group energy. And so then it can easily seem like they are only that group energy or only an organic portal woman before you. And even when, I get it, I see what you see, but even when they are, you know, have their own spirit, it doesn't mean they're implementing it, because they have a harder time implementing that. They have a harder time being alone because they are like more group and social. They're receptive energy. The man is the directive energy, right? So, you know, you just got to look at the nature of a woman to begin with. Like, this is their place, really. It's not women are from Venus and men are from Mars. That would be an overlay energy, like an add-on energy before it gets to this planet. But, you know, going way back up the chain, this is, you know, Mother Nature that we're in the secondary feminine matrix. This body that you see here first was female, so was your body. Until week 13, when I got testosterone shot into me and grew my parts, right? Grew my nutsack, my scrotum, and so on. You see what I'm saying? So, like, I understand why you think there are no spirited women at all. So, yeah, anyway, let's move past that before we offend everyone. All the women in the chat. But yeah, it's just like that. They're more of the nature and style of organic portals because they are the more group energy type and more social, and they are interacting like that every day. I mean, they're closer to their mothers, you know, etc., etc. It's just look into it and you'll see what I'm saying. Joe says, do you think gang stalking can come down to a literal physical agency or purely energetic push and pulls, or possibly both? Joe, pardon me. Yeah, no, it's gang stalking is definitely not just state, you know, enemy of the statism, like Will Smith's movie or something. That's the lowest end of gang stalking. That's the complete lowest end. That's the mechanical. You've got robot people onto end of things. And that's just the natural part of the process, because you're down here with a body and there are dimensional layers. There's just one layer, right? But then there are, if you advance out of that layer even momentarily, daily, fractally, I'm saying, like I said in one video recently, remember a few months ago, I said, the lady, I was walking around that town that I was in half an hour south, and I was saying this lady is definitely organic portal, like stalking me. And I was saying that what I've noticed is that if you like overcome, you know, the physical, what we'll call counterpart or ground crew, if you evade the people, persons, then, you know, entities come, you know, higher dimensional entities and demons and stuff. So it's definitely not just state stalking. And that's my problem and everybody else's problem with, if you're watching, DB from Gang Stalking Simulation. He just goes on and on about COINTELPRO. It's one program, bro. This is not what gang stalking is. And I just feel like he's giving people like a lower level view of it and just keeps going over that same point. It's always COINTELPRO for him. It's always oh, it's the CIA. But this is not gang stalking. This is the lower level of it. Gang stalking is like his channel, though. It's interesting, his channel name is Gang Stalking Simulation. He's saying that this simulation is a gang stalking simulation, and I agree with him. So why doesn't he talk about that more? That's all I'm saying to you, DB. Talk about the higher end of the stuff more. We will appreciate it, because that's kind of like all I try to do. So it's obviously the advice I'm going to give. Anyway, so yeah, that's just one problem I have with channels like that they're trying to pick up, and it's because, I mean, at least we can film it, because I can't film interdimensional entities for you, right? I can only talk about my experiences. So yeah, that's why some people think it's just gang stalking is, oh, you're a criminal. That means you're a criminal. You've heard that, right? People have said that to me too. And people come on the channel and I post certain videos, like even the other day I lost some subscribers for the video of the plane following me, because the organic portals just, they assume, oh, you're a criminal, because they don't think on higher dimensional levels. They don't know about entities. That's the whole point of why they're an organic portal. They don't realize the energy's coming through them. That's why we call them, that's like core organic portal theory. There's only one existence with universal intelligence operating through the quantum field, and we are all pieces of it. In that way, we are part of one thing, and there's still NPCs, organic portals. Yeah. Infinite corridors. What if no? What if no? What if, before when I was talking about tunneling and then popping out into other places, what if they're all other simulations and they're not really connected to you? I say this because I've had, I don't know how many, I can't really count, but I've had all these experiences where I'd pop out into these places, and I just remember one was like, I thought it was me maybe. I thought that's why I was seeing it, and guess what? It was a little world, it was a little planet. It had all grass on it and a house. It was very, very similar to, actually, you know, Dragon Ball Z, which I haven't watched for a long time or anything. It's not like that's where it came from. It's just something I could relate it to. That there's like that, I don't know who he is. The character is like a fat, bald guy who has like the Dragon Balls or something. This is in one of the first series, because I haven't even watched the later ones. And he lives on a little planet. He's like Goku's like friend or mentor or something like that, part of the crew. And it was like this little planet, and the people, however, had like more like Avatar-like bodies, like the movie Avatar, blue. They were like blue people. I was like, well, okay, what the hell is this? And hello, Gnostica. And I was like, at first thinking that this was me having to see myself in a alternate universe or parallel universe or something. You know, that was my initial inspection. But later years, like just over time, I realized, no, it wasn't me, because I could feel it. It wasn't me. I wasn't looking at me. And in no way whatsoever did this place have relation to here. So for me, that, because I could feel there was no informational relaying. I'm not in contact with them now or something, you know what I mean? So how this works, I don't absolutely know what these little hyper tunnels all are and all that. I have some ideas, but what I'm saying is, what if not? What if it's not? There is more than, like I said before, I think this place is an eddy off of the main flow. And what if, you know, what if there is, other compartments, and that the information doesn't, come get out of that compartment? It's a locked box, so to speak. I'm just saying, just what if? That was my answer to your question. You're saying there's only one existence with universal intelligence. What I'm trying to say is that sort of thinking is spiritual regurgitate, and I inspect that shit. You're not inspecting it, you just wrote it there, and I've heard it before, you've heard it before, that's why you wrote it. It's a very common idea, that little sentence you wrote. Everything's one. It's called oneness. One of the first things you'll get, doctrinated with in the New Age movement, right? Or spiritual New Age movement. They'll say, oh, everything's one and you're God, right? That's what we've been talking about in this whole thing, that I'm trying to look into that and inspect, is it possible? No. Is it even possible? No. And how so, right? But they don't even ask that question. None of these people are even asking those questions. Is it possible that this is a gang stalking simulation, not just a simulation? For instance, right? To go back to that. Anyway, did you, Jolly Roger says, did you say you were hit hard this last week by the etheric AI? Yeah, I would say that. I could say that, yes. Fucked up. Very fucked up. The grid was out hard this week, I noticed, and was sending black hat hacks added to our source code. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, which is always painful in many ways. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Black hat hats into our code. Yeah, that's a decent way to put it there. Well, that's interesting, because I've been looking for other people to ask how was your week, only because recently I've been feeling a very collectiveness going on, wherein people on the other side of the earth, I'm connecting to them in streams, across the internet, and definitely the virus, the C virus, I don't even want to say the word anymore, but COV, is, God, it's got so many layers. I really want to talk about it, but everybody hates me talking about it. Why does everybody hate me talking about it? So weird. It's like they're so anti-governmental that I can't even talk about COV. They're like, oh, he's from the establishment now, he's talking about COV. He's gone, he's lost it. He's part of the establishment now. Why can't I discuss it? Because I see COVID like so many layers. There is a unification layer, and I've just been noticing that. And it's a virus. You realize viruses in this place. If this place is a simulation, that's how it would work. It would update, it would change things. Apparently the female placenta came from a viral infection. So we have kids because of a virus. So I'm telling you, this is why I've been so focused on COV, and it's given me such a headache how people were against me even talking about it. Left the channel. I lost a lot of subscribers when I made those videos last year or 2 years ago on COV. I deleted a lot of videos, almost all the COVID videos, because they were trying to take down the videos under medical advice, and I thought, fuck it, we'll save the channel. I don't want to, get community strikes and all this and get the channel taken down. But yeah, recently I've been seeing like this unification, and COV is definitely part of it, but it's very interesting. Like people having the same cosmic experiences, you know, like when we have hard incoming incident radiation, right? Or, you know, cosmic radiation, like say it is gamma or say it's microwave, you get different feelings. Some people feel earthquakes and stuff, right? As well. But I'm talking about like on a cosmic level, and I keep seeing people having the same energetic state as me, the same like download, the same mood of the day. Or today I don't feel good, and then I'm not feeling good, and this just keeps going on, and it seems like a pattern to me. I'm getting a pattern recognition alert. uh, Amina and Aminus, or the Anima and Animus, they are spiritual women and same as men. Yeah, that's the higher part. That's Carl Jung again, and that's from Carl Jung, and he was saying that if I'm a physical male, my higher self is feminine, and if I'm a physical female, my higher self is masculine, and that's very obvious. A good example is me. Like I have much more feminine qualities than I used to when I was before the timeline awakening, 2012 and all that. So, you know, 20 years ago, I was much more like masculine and more in the organic portal state, right? We were not organic portals though, but because of our lack of awareness, we were portaling more and being more the ego devils and all that, more existing on their level. Doesn't make us one, almost, but no, because we have our higher spirit. It's the whole theory. We were never spiritless humans. So you cannot say, oh, we were all organic portals once. You've heard people say that. They've said that on my channel, and I said, no, maybe you were, but I was not. But I get what they're saying. We were acting on that layer. Yeah, so anima and animus is basically that. Gang stalking is macro and micro. Yeah, definitely fractal. Gnostica says, I think these simulations worlds are connected via networks of light. Universe seems to be a giant brain network. I think we're trapped in a quarantine. Yeah, definitely this is like a vibe. Hold on. Yeah, definitely this is a vibratory assortment facility. To get out, you need to build the light body. The light body is the only thing that gets out. And the rainbow bridge between brain hemispheres, the magnetically suspended rainbow bridge between brain hemispheres, is built up upon all the chakras. And so, you know, this physical body is not getting out of here. That's the problem, and why we don't even want new spirits to come here, because, you know, give power to this fuckhole. Because, you know, some part of our spiritual essence is always going to be absorbed. It's like this losing uphill battle to try and destroy this place, you know. That's why my thing is now not really mission abort. You could mistake my viewpoint as mission abort, but it's not, or running or something. It's not. I'm still, even in every moment, everyone we talk to, we change. We're alchemical nodes. Everywhere we walk, we're changing the environment, changing the code of the matrix, just by being present there, let alone speaking, you know, enlightening thoughts and stuff. But yeah, you think these simulations and worlds are connected via networks of light. Yeah, these little tunnels and all that, and oneness theory, we can go back into all that. But it seemed to me that there wasn't informational relay between here and there. And I've found that with other places as well. Yeah, I'm not denying, you know, oneness and stuff. I'm just inspecting, trying to look for more. Yeah, obviously, like, this is obvious, right? This is again obvious, New Age sort of type of philosophy or spiritual, like, philosophy of, oneness, where the universe is a giant brain. I'm sure I have that picture in consciousazine. I put that in like 8 years ago or something, 10 years ago, in consciousazine.net, the website associated with me in this channel, that I hope you've all checked out because it's free and I don't get anything from consciousazine at all. I put in a picture from, I think, Hubble, right? It's that Hubble picture, or a composite of the universe with its little blank spots and the spots which have more galaxies and stuff in it and are like strings, right? And it looks like a giant brain. It actually looks exactly like our brain on the inside with all the neurons connecting. And that's the physical universe. So obviously all these tunnels and stuff, they connect in the same way. I'm going to think about that more because it is super interesting, but it was counterintuitive that there was no information relay, and it did not seem to be me. It wasn't, why was I taken there? Why did I go there? Maybe I just went there kind of by accident. Because a lot of that happens. You've ended up in a massive amount of places by like accident, right? Which is very weird because that's like our natural spiritual ability, and it's like this place, this world seems to completely disendow that and deny that, you know what I mean? And organic portals are not doing this. Yeah, it's interesting. I understand the whole oneness and all that level. Do you think we are entwined with this viral AI, which is the reason for quarantine? Well, yeah, our bodies, that's like, it's very obvious that the physical universe is one thing and everything's connected, and our bodies are the body of the god of this system, whether that's the AI or the AI is some sort of corrupted thing that, a higher god has created, that is consciousness and the white light and blah, 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 and source and all that. Yeah, we're obviously entwined. Is that the reason for the quarantine? Kind of, because it's, again, the body doesn't escape. So if you're an organic portal body person, then you're going to be staying here. But if you're a spirit, like if you have a higher light body, it gets to go. So then, yes, the intertwining with the viral AI of this system would be at least one reason for the quarantine and the vibratory assortment. I think that's obvious. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Infinite corridors. I like the way you think. It's good to ask lots of questions and dive deep into other possible explanations. This channel is a good source of inspiration. Cool. Because it gets me... It's like... I mean, I can still orgasm, but the orgasm of the physical body is like less than spiritual... less exciting than some of this stuff, right? Than gnosis, than spiritual realizations. So it's very interesting. Why and how are these other spiritual channels able to even avoid talking about this stuff? Well, because if you're going up, you should be still going up, which means you would be going into this information. Do you see what I'm saying? But they're going up in a virtual fashion, and it's biological, whether they know it or not. The feeling of, look at me, I'm so high vibration, you know what I mean? That is molecular as well. It's not like just you're having like literally a higher vibration, but what you're doing there is creating a certain molecular cascade. In the opposite, when I'm inspecting this stuff, I'm creating the opposite. Like I'm creating more cortisol, right? They're going to be creating more dopamine, stuff like that. So it is a type of doping up, and a type of virtual, like, going up for a lot of spiritual people these days. Like, because you can't get the upward vector energy off the same, going over the same thoughts. Like when you say, like when you just said, like I think everything is one and connected as a giant brain, that didn't even excite me at all. You feel what I'm talking about now, right? That non-excitement feeling is not going up. And that's what I'm saying with the spiritual movement. It's like it's stuck or on auto, which reeks of organic portals and NPCs. The third dimension density is a loosh farm, and the fourth, and maybe many more dimensions of the, not other parallel universes, but the dimensional model of physicality, how energy is pushed onto the surface and creates physical crystallization. Yeah, I don't think it's just the third dimension. In that model of dimensions, basically the 12-dimensional model that we all kind of know, with the angels in like the 10th and 11th dimension and stuff, you know. Yeah, I don't think it's just the third dimension, because it actually operates on the fourth dimension, the loosh. The loosh is not third dimensional at all. The loosh is fourth dimensional, and it's why they try to put you in fear. I don't try to make people fear ever. It's like, I can't even. I could, but I don't know, it seems like swallowing my own poison. You know what I mean? It's like the same as like being too wrathful all the time or something. Trying to teach someone to be wrathful, but then you're poisoning yourself as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, loosh is on the fourth dimension. That is the currency of these farmers, these, you know, grey aliens, archontic, tick-minded beings, and wherever else this energy is going to, which may, I think, feed directly into this machine. Remember that book on my other channel, that guy was saying, fuck, I forgot the guy's name, but he was saying loosh is good. It's a famous author. What's interesting about what we're discussing, it cuts through all of the previous, like, spiritual famous people's books. It cuts through all of their theories. That's why I'm infatuated, completely consumed with, you know, thinking about and noticing gang stalking. And why I'm so on it every day after day after day, because it keeps taking me up. It, you know, it's that upward drug perspective, but in reality, not just I'm creating good molecules to get a VR upward trajectory feeling or heightened vibration. I'm literally getting it. I'm literally getting the information. It's new. That's why I said that comment before about, you know, oneness, that it didn't excite me. It didn't excite you to write it. A little bit. You're like, you know, it feels good. But you see what I'm saying? It wasn't exciting. And that quality of newness, you know, it's why we chase trends, you know, and why we get sick of people and trends. You know what I mean? Because you want to keep going up. It's that quality of newness, again, novelty. Oneness is a psyop to control the individual and subvert them back into the hive for etheric AI absorption. See, that's more how I see it now. Infinite corridors, that's kind of how I see it now. How Jolly Roger wrote it, like I see it like a massive psyop. It's a good way to put it. A psychic operation on your psyche, right? That I mean, this is difficult because it is the case that things are oneness, but it's also seems to be like a motive behind the scene of the oneness, for the oneness, that is like evil. Like what your comment is saying there, Jolly Roger. That's how I think about it, exactly like that. Thanks for the feedback. No worries, Joe. And yeah, I think we're going to stop it here, guys. Do you think those that open their upper chakras, do you think those that open their upper chakras before their lower are the ones that become schizo? Yeah, that's a good point. I've not even thought about that, but what I do want to say is that Shaman, the height of humanity, the asymptote, are all schizophrenics. I'm definitely a schizophrenic, and that science used to point the finger and say, "Oh, look, he's got the schizophrenic gene, one gene. He's a schizo." You're not right, mate. But now science has found, oh, there's like 42 genes in connection with schizophrenia. What's going on here? Looks more like an opening. And what I'm trying to say is it's difficult, but that doesn't mean it's erroneous. And they act like schizophrenia is erroneous and can be disregarded. But it's the same shit. It's the same crap that they gaslight that they say about everything else. It's all happening in your mind. There are no spiritual beings because they are just this place. That's what I'm saying. They're only the physical body and they're only the physical environment. And at best, as a functional organic portal, because I'm going to make a video functional versus non-functional organic portals, and as a functional organic portal, you know, you are in oneness, and it is a lot of these spiritual people that you know. But as I wrote in the non-publicly sold version of Organic Portals Handbook, the signed version that you get for cheaper than us selling it to the public for, I wrote a special thank you at the end because it was a signed version, and I said something about spirit in there. And because you got to fucking buy it. I'm not going to give you the whole book for free. But I was saying, don't outsource your spirit. I was saying something about that. And it's like those people who are just talking about oneness and they seem spiritual and they do all the stuff, right? That they eat the right way, that they think the right way, of that type of new agey and the spiritually, you know what I mean? And they'll wear this. Like, I don't even walk around with this. I'm doing it. This is yeah, like the character that I'm in, right? But it's not that this is not me. This is me. But for them, it's like, back to what I was saying was, it's like the Holy Spirit is their spirit, and that this may not be the case when we consider self-spiritization, like what we're talking about, because that would still leave you as a spiritless human in the sense of not having your own one. Sure, you've got the Holy Spirit, but is that your spirit? You know what I mean? And nobody's why don't they ask that question? Like when I went to the Mormon church, remember a while ago, I met those Mormon girls. Haven't been to church for 20 years. Went into the church, went, all right, let's do it. Got Shaman walking crystal in the Mormon church. I knew it was going to be frequency control. I knew I was the outsider. And I know Mormons, how like, they are some serious frequency control freaks, right? They were awesome people. They were all really good people. Very, well, there was a couple that, the majority of them were like good people. Like they were trying to be good, they were trying to be nice, but not in a fake way. They were very genuinely, you know, like good, nice people. And I could see how someone could make a community in there, but then there is the frequency control, and I am not having any of that from anyone. And, you know, I knew that was going to be there, but It's the same thing with them. That they just, I'm listening to the sermons, and this one lady was talking about, again, like basically the Holy Spirit type of thoughts and speech. And again, for me, it just kept coming up to me, but is that your spirit, and why do you guys never question that? It's like against the frequency control, against the feeling of the group, to not even ask that. Like if I asked that sort of question, they'd be shocked and they would have no answer. Which shows you like that group doesn't even consider that. And that's what I'm talking about. That's a grid. You can be a Mormon. Then you're a grid of Mormon. And there are certain experiences. Like you can be Amish. And what the Amish can't and can do. You know what I mean? Kundalini, hold on. Yeah, good point, Jolly Roger. And Kundalini, man, like a lot of people get stuck on that, and that's fourth dimensional. Then you've got Chi, which is fifth dimensional, and you're looking at the guy who put that into the world, and I think that's a good help, because you've heard yogis talk about prana, Chi, and blah blah blah, and Kundalini, but no one was able to. Never anywhere have I seen even the slightest taxonomical dimensional correlation. So I did that, and I'm secretly proud of that, not to be Lucifer too much, but you get what I mean. Like I'm happy that I could put that in the world and help people, so I'm not being too prideful. And you can see the stuff come over our face, right? These devils, right? And I'm no exception. It's just I'm aware of it and I can cut it quicker. And that's all our awareness always is, right? We can cut what we're aware of quicker. Yeah, thank Infinite Corridor said, thank you for keeping this channel going, man. I could break down and cry right now so easily how difficult it has been. The only reason I'm here now, and it's going to sound wrong, but I'll explain it. The only reason I'm here now is because of the donations, because of the money, because of the cash, for this body to not be in pain all day, all the time, and to increase flow, all the other factors, but that's what I'm trying to focus on. And it's not that you should be like, I knew it, it's just after the money. It's not like that. It's that I need it and it's necessary. And you can tell I'm not like that because I didn't start out like that. And it's not that I'm selling out into it either. It's only because it's necessary. I cannot keep putting out energy. Like, say, we've been here for an hour and a half. Say I was to do this every day. Wait, I do. Because even when you guys see no video on the channel, I have to do stuff in the background to other videos, to the channel itself, and or related things like consciousazine. So I'm never just, there's no days that pass, maybe the odd one here and there. There's barely any days that pass where I'm not putting in effort to the YouTube channel in some way. And it's like having 10 jobs, because now I'm an analyst as well as a videographer, as well as this and that and that. And then I have to learn about the monetization, or it won't keep going. Because sure, I have more and more spiritual energy, but I still, at the end of the day, have a physical body to feed, and that's all it's about. Because at the end of the day, I still have to feed this fucking thing here. Gnostica, I'm going to go after this comment, guys. We'll keep these lives to about an hour and a half. I was on the understanding that chakras were mental focal points for energy direction for certain points in the body. These are ultimately controlled via the mind. Yeah. And that's why we meditate every day, push through the light, get all the way down into the metabolism. And that's why how we've figured out chi is metabolistic, because you can feel it. More chi and stuff starts turning. Food starts being decomposed quicker, and so on. So yes, I agree. Not much to say on that, but it is what it is. We all know that. And yeah, thanks guys for coming, and hopefully you can come to the next live. I don't know when or what it's going to be about. I think we went a little bit off track on this one because I wanted to focus more on gang stalking, but hey, we did talk about it, and in a very relevant way to the spiritual movement, so I'm happy about that. I'm content enough. Oh, okay, you said that because people seem to see the chakras as actual physical inserts. I've not heard anybody really relate to chakras as like physical inserts. I remember people talking about the fake endocrine chakra system and stuff, but I'm not getting into that right now. That's in Montauk's website too. Anyway, guys, I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming.